Here is Chief Meteorologist Chase Jones.
Well, as the beautiful weather sets in with this high pressure, we're shutting things down in the Storm Team Weather Center. And we're really just tracking the dry weather, keeping our eye out for any more cold weather and the rain. Now, another beautiful sunset as we see a little bit of cloud cover. But as we make our way into the evening, temperatures over the last 24 hours down near those upper 30s, made a good 40-degree run into those lower 80s, and we're cooling off pretty quickly underneath these clear skies. But we're holding on to a little bit of heat despite those southerly winds all the way down into those sort of mid-50s. By tomorrow, a good run at those 90s. Get ready for the heat. It's going to be here for a while. 68 in San Angelo. Everybody else in a combination of those mid to lower 60s across the entire region. Always looking for 10 degrees. 65 in Sterling City. 67 down there in Junction. 70 over there in Robert Lee. Looking like about 5 degrees across the entire Concho Valley, if not 7 if you want to count Sonora down there. So we're looking at some of those lower elevations, some of those low spots across the entire valley. Now dew points are up there in those 30s, while humidity indices are up there in those 20s and those 30s. So they're on their way up, but I'm keeping my eye out for some of those foggy windshield mornings. Not looking very likely right now with the lower humidity values and the dew points. Now, instability trying to work its way across the Great Plains, but the high pressure is locked in now. As we get closer towards summer, we're going to see more of this high pressure get settled in, and we're going to see where some of those record temperatures start to make their way sort of across the Midwest. Now, we are seeing somewhere in Arizona, if not New Mexico, they could see a triple-digit day. Here in the Concho Valley, Sunday's looking like the most likely day to hit about those triple digits. The first day was back in February. Now, here's our high pressure as it pushes all those systems up and around the Rocky Mountains while we just deal with a little bit of instability somewhere around next week. Now, the temperatures will drop down to the 80s, but I don't think it's going to get down to those freezing levels. But our fingers are crossed for some moisture because we're going to see some of this cutoff low action, push some instability from the subtropical ridge up into our area, and maybe some low cloud cover. Now, water vapor imagery showing you how the stationary boundary just sort of hovering around us while it holds off a lot of moisture barreling across the Rocky Mountains. This is pretty much a straight line flow. Take a good look at this moisture, this atmospheric river just hammering the west coast, flying across the Rocky Mountains, right into Wyoming, and then just barreling across Nebraska. As we get closer towards the weekend, we're going to see pleasant temperatures, but as a result, they're going to see a whole nother mess. Now, severe weather outlook, we've been tracking it all day. This green blob is slowly making its way down into the Ohio River Valley. We take it down to the surface, still dealing with the red flag alerts and some of that high cloud convection off towards the east. They're now dealing with winter weather alerts and hard freeze warnings and still some flash flooding. Down here in the Concho Valley, nothing but beautiful 90s and calm winds. Now, tomorrow's looking like a pretty breezy day. That's because one monster of a storm is going to set up around the sort of Great Lakes region. It's going to pull the moisture out of the Concho Valley and push it up towards the northeast, but off towards the west coast. We're starting to see an impressive fog bank start to build up somewhere around San Diego. We're going to see if that moisture doesn't fight its way across the Rocky Mountains, down across the Edwards Plateau into our area by next week. So it's going to be a beautiful rodeo weekend. Get out there. This is the one we wanted instead of the one we got last week. Down into the mid-50s, but get ready for the heat. Then tomorrow, a beautiful run at those 90s, but it's going to take everyone's work to contain the flame, even though the burn ban has been lifted as we get closer towards rodeo and we're closing in on Easter. That's what I'm trying to say. We're going to see those temperatures just lock in those 90s. Now, overnight lows in those 50s, they're going to push all the way up into those 60s. Seeing the winds go off and on as we deal with that rodeo. Here comes Sunday for that triple-digit day, but as we get closer towards Easter, we're going to see those temperatures drop down into those upper 70s, if not those lower 80s, while those overnight lows go from those 60s all the way down into those mid-50s. Stay tuned. We'll have more break. You're watching KSAN News at 10.